Following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
By tomorrow, I will rule the world!
You think he's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone!
Is this some radical new therapy?
You see?
Well, I must have not been paying attention when you were just talking to me. Do you think that you could repeat the question? And I listen more attentively. There must have been something in all of that nothing that wasn't quite so easy to see. And I must have missed something when you were just talking to me. I must have not been paying attention when you were busy slamming the door. I guess the things that pass
I respond to when we start the show. Century 21 McLennan Real Estate, Navy Extra Law Office, Marcian and Sons Inspector Love EIS Investigation and Gun City, Tomo and Shaky Seafood. Tomo, my brother Danny last week. That was a lot of fun. We were there for 3 hours. My brother Danny lives in Florida, so I don't get a chance to talk to him. Nothing going on. JG's Ice Cream at 3,000. Tomo and Shaky Seafood. Clear Path for Veterans Doing with AMC Urgent Care. I mentioned Zaka yesterday. Pleasant Valley with contractors. Enterprise Bank. Now, here's the thing with Enterprise Bank. They got bought out by Rockland Trust. We're going to give them a shot. I have faith in my judgment. And the St. Arms. So I have faith. I'm going to give them a shot. But what I've read up on Rockland, I'm not encouraged. But you know, the Prime Insurance of Doug Mercurio Law Office. That's absent. Contract. The former previous Prime Insurance is W3ON, a free ad for quality catering in Methuen. They won the Taste of Methuen contest, which we still haven't talked about. Tara Mar, Mexican girl, and a free show. All right, what do you say we get this show on the ride?
I like it.
Still the outline. If someone had a problem with the outline, they're going to work on that. That's a lot better than what it was. Hi, how you guys doing? My name's Tom Duggan. If you're paying attention, podcast high atop the Golden Seal Apothecary here in downtown North Andover, across the street from the plush Valley Patriot offices at the NCAM Studios. And I have a great show for you today. Not going to talk about a lot of stuff. We're not going to bounce around like we normally do because we have State Representative Methuen and Lawrence State Representative Francisco Paulino. And you know what's interesting about this guy, I'm going to talk to him in a second. What's interesting, though, is you would think someone with his kind of worldview and life experience and someone with my worldview and life experience that we would not get along. Like most people, when they find out we're friends, they do a double take. They're like, wait, you're friends with who?
With who?
I'm like, Francisco Paulino is a good guy. Wait a minute.
How?
You're friends? No. Really? And people are always somehow kind of shocked that Francisco and I have a really good relationship.
Well, you're also supposed to be racist.
That's true.
You have like a whole bunch of Latinos friends.
Right.
I don't understand.
I just do it wrong. And especially because when he first ran, Marcos Devers is a very good friend of mine, and I endorse Marcos. And I could just tell you right out of the gate before we get to him, is that after he won, he called me the next morning, which I was very honored to have, because when candidates win, the next day they crash, right? And then maybe it takes a week for them to call their supporters. I wasn't even a supporter. I supported Marcos. But he called me and he said, Tommy, you were very professional. I know that Marcos was your friend, but you could never tell by the way you covered the election that you were helping Marcos. Marcos was your friend. And I respect you for that, and I want to work with you. And we've been friends ever since. So I have a lot of respect for Francisco. We don't agree on a lot of stuff, but again, we're grown-ups. You can agree to disagree. A couple of things I want to get to real quick before we bring in our guest. We're having we did this before COVID. We're going to bring it back because it was very successful. So what we were doing was we called it a flash mob lunch. We're going to change it to a flash mob lunch / dinner because I don't get up until 12 or 1 in the afternoon. By the time it comes for lunch, for me, it's like 5 o'clock. So, and what we'll do is we're going to get about 20, we're going to get about 10 people, maybe 15, 20 if we can get them. We're going to pick one restaurant a month or every 2 weeks, depending on if we can get people. And
well, the way the economic is, maybe once every 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we're
once a
gonna,
month.
so July 28th, Monday, July 28th at 5 o'clock, we're all going to Terramar Mexican Grill because they won the Taste of Lawrence contest from the Valley Patriot Taste Testers. And so as part of winning, we give them a free ad in the Valley Patriot, and we want to bring our friends there and give them some business because they have the best, by far the best dish at the Taste of Lawrence. Like, there was a lot of competition for second and third place.
Taste
like
of Methuen.
No, Taste of Lawrence.
Oh, it was Taste of
Yeah,
Lawrence.
so
Okay.
after the Taste of Methuen, we had Taste of Lawrence, which is run by our buddy Stephen Gill over at Salvatore's. He partnered with Salvatore's. It was the first ever. And he called me, he came over to me at a couple of events, gave me some free tickets for our taste testers, said, I love what you do with Taste of Methuen, please come. So we went, and we, first far and away was Terramar Mexican Grill. And then second place to fifth place, they were all within like a point and a half. So we scored each dish. We have 5 taste testers go. We rate them on the temperature of the food, texture of the food, and taste.
Okay.
And then we add up all the scores, whoever has the highest score. So Terramar Mexican Grill blew everybody away. They were like 15 points ahead of second place.
Wow.
And then from second place to fifth place, they were all within a point or a point and a half. So we had Vaca, we had Big Beautiful Wings, which is not even a restaurant. They're a food truck. Yeah,
they're really good, though.
Phenomenal, right?
They're really good.
And there was a bunch of others too, but Terramar won, so we're going to go there first. And I think for the second one, we're going to try and pick a place in Methuen. We're going to jump around a little bit. So anybody that's interested, direct message me, email me. Everyone pays for their own dinner, right? So we're all going to go together. It's going to be separate checks except for intern girl. I'm going to take care of intern girl.
Thank you.
And we want everyone to take pictures of their food. Post it on Facebook, share it to the Merrimack Valley Eats pages. We're doing this to try to help local businesses. None of these businesses are advertising with me, right? So at some point we might go to Salvatore's because we like them, but otherwise we're not going to places. We're not trying to get them to advertise with us. We're not doing this as a shill to get them to spend money. We're doing it to help them.
And not only that, you get to network as well. Meet people.
Well, yeah, we're going to meet a whole bunch of new people. Yeah.
You know, have a
that'll be fun.
margarita.
Maybe the representative will come. I know he likes to eat as much as I do.
Yeah?
Maybe not as much as I do, but probably close. Couple other things. We get some real quick. We have. Thank God I went to bed every night praying, please let somebody run for Central District Council in Methuen to stop Sharon Burchill. Please, God, let somebody run. And a couple of days ago, I got a phone call from one of my favorite people in the world, former school committee member in Methuen, Luann Santos, called and said, Tom, I'm here to answer your prayers. I understand that you're desperately looking for someone to run in the Central District. I pulled papers today. And I cheered. I sat at my desk and I cheered. And I posted on Facebook. I was very happy about that. We're looking for one more candidate in that Central District race, and that'll make it fun. The other race that's going to be really fun is the Lawrence District A race. I think you have 5 candidates now, maybe more, but 5 by my count.
Yep.
And they're all top-notch candidates.
Yes, they are.
So you've got Myra Ortiz. Myra Ortiz is running.
Lizzie Rivas.
Yep, I love her.
Yeah.
And I think we're having lunch next week.
Okay.
Franklin Miguel, who I endorsed I think twice before. I think you know Franklin. Right? Didn't he run twice or 3 times?
He's my favorite candidate. I'm endorsing him.
I love that guy. I love that guy.
I like him too.
So you've got a lot of candidates in that race, and I think that's going to be the race to watch in Lawrence. And in Methuen, I think the race to watch is the at-large race. So Ryan DeZoglio from the school committee jumped in the at-large race. He's on the school committee. His brother Nick DeZoglio is on the city council. He's jumping in the school committee race.
They're just switching
So
places.
they're just going to swap because Methuen does this stupid thing where they put term limits on their councilors and school committee, but they didn't structure it in a way that these elected officials go away. So originally they did it because the same people always ran, same people always won. You could never get rid of an incumbent. So they put term limits on. I'm totally against term limits. To me, term limits takes away my right as a voter to choose who I want based on the fact that they're in for some arbitrary amount of time. So now you've got the swap. You got Ryan going to the city council, Nick going to the school committee. I think they'll both do a good job on each. The other at-large people that are running, you got Jana Zani Pesci, the sexiest woman alive.
Oh, yeah.
Who I guess we're having lunch next week. She's in Italy right now, and I'm like, oh, you went to Italy without me. Thanks, appreciate that.
She's also lost a lot of weight, right?
Yeah, we don't encourage that at all here at the Paying Attention podcast. I had to deduct 10 points from her Sexiest Woman Alive status. Luann Santos is not Luann Santos. Wanda Santos is running in that race as well. And I get along with her very well. She's helped TMF. John Drew is also running in that race. There's a lot of people in that race now. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. And I had one more thing, but I can't remember, so let's just get to our guest. Sitting with us today is, now most people don't know or care what the number of your district is, but just for my edification, is it the 16th Essex District?
Correct.
Wow, I got it right?
Finally.
I honestly, I just pulled that off the cobwebs of my back of my head. I had no idea. 16th Essex District, it encompasses East Methuen, part of Central Methuen, and North Lawrence and like the Prospect Hill area all the way over to like encroaching kind of like on the North Common area, would I say? Is that right?
Part of District 8.
Yeah.
2 prison and a quarter of District 8 and basically the entire South Lawrence.
Okay, can you pull him up just a little bit?
Yeah.
So you ran for state rep first time. Well, first you ran for city council, and then you lost that race. Then you ran for state rep, and boom, you beat an incumbent, which is never done in politics. Incumbents almost never lose. The last time an incumbent lost that I remember was when Diana beat Dave Teresi back in 2014, right? And other than that, or Marcos is the only guy that's lost as an incumbent 3 times. And he's my friend, and I say it with love. But it's very, very hard. Like, you look at the statistics, like 98% of the time the incumbents get elected. And you did it. You unseated an incumbent, and you did it in a primary. So what was that like? You knew you were running against an incumbent. You know how hard that is. And as a relatively unknown, you'd run for a district council seat before, but, you know, people in that whole area of Methuen didn't really know you as well as they knew the incumbent, and you somehow found a way to pull it off.
Well, the way we did it, I can say, no, that I did it. We did it. I got all our help from my partner in life, Ruby Peroy, my wife.
Nancy loves her. Nancy and Michael Gorman love her.
Yeah, she's an angel for the whole community. She owns Heavily Donuts, and she donates most of the profits and revenue of that coffee shop to help people that are not as lucky as we have been. So I got a lot of help from her, from many folks that believe that the District 16 should have a competent representation of the State House. They didn't feel represented. And we knock every single door. We make thousands of phone calls. And the masters went through. And that's how we won in Methuen. We won almost most of the prison in Lawrence. And we continue working every day. I believe the easiest part is to get elected. The work starts once you get elected. You know, you learning you looking and learning and gaining a philosophical foundation. So when you go to the State House, when you file a bill, when you vote in a roll call, that philosophical foundation will keep you connected to the people that choose you, that elect you to do that job. And I had traveled across the country. I learned from the Native Americans, from the African Americans, from the Asian Americans, the philosophy, the history of how they overcome, hurdles to bring better life for the communities. And I brought that with me. And that have helped me to give the District 16 the best representation that this district has had in the last 40 years.
Can I ask you a tough question, or do you want this just to be a happy conversation?
Go
So, I don't know why that happened. Most of my readers, or a lot, I shouldn't say most. I don't know what the percentage is, but a lot of my readers are very unhappy with all the state reps, all of them, because all of you voted for the expenditures for illegal alien housing while we have 300 homeless people on the streets of Lawrence. And not a lot of help for them. Daybreak Homeless Shelter's been looking for a new building for 10 years. They're basically, I have a huge echo in my ears here. The Daybreak Homeless Shelter is basically 2 mobile homes welded together. It's not even a real structure. There's no basement. There's no anything. Forever, Karina Papalato has been begging people to help her get another shelter. And it takes TMF with no money from the government, no money from the state, no money from the city, no money from the federal government to go out and feed the homeless, not just on Wednesday nights. And thank you for your help, too, because you do a lot for them. But then they go out 4 or 5 other nights a week and they go to all the different tent cities. And then the people who are doing that work turn to their legislature and they see the legislature spending all of this money on someone that just got here 15 minutes ago that's not even supposed to be here. And they're very frustrated. And so I thought, since you're the first state rep to come here since that vote, I tried to get Pavel in here because it's a lot more fun to pick on him than it is to pick on you. But I just want to throw that out with you. And then I'm still like, can you pull me down just a little bit?
Okay, can you repeat your question because you say a lot of stuff.
Okay, all right. So we have a lot of American citizens sleeping on the streets of Lawrence and America and Massachusetts who are not getting any help. And yet the legislature, including yourself, voted to spend millions of, if not billions of dollars on illegal aliens, housing, food, transportation, clothing, education, health care, on people who just got here. And a lot of our readers are very frustrated by that, and I thought maybe I'd give you a chance to address it.
Okay. First, I vote to support the right to shelter law, which...
To what? Say it again.
The right to shelter.
Okay.
Which, if you may not live in Lawrence, but you are very connected to our city.
I'm more in Lawrence than I am in North Andover.
The same right to shelter law that help half of the city to go to hotels, to get trailer parks, to house them when we have an emergency. Mm-hmm. The same law, the same legislation that helped thousands of veterans to have a roof where they can live. That help mothers, daughters, and sons and babies to have a roof on top of their head. That's what I vote for. And when you have a program that is not mean tested, you either vote in favor or you vote against it. So, would I vote against a program that is housing? The 60% of the housing are veterans, single mothers, people that for some way or another are struggling. I cannot divide that. When you have a program that is not mean tested, you either vote in favor or against it. And believe me, I vote to support those single mothers, those elderly people that are struggling, and to have that funding when something happened like it did when we got those gas explosions. And I was the first Latino, Dominican, Italian immigrant that went to the desk of the governor and told her, I represent the most diverse city in the state and one of the most diverse cities in the country. And we are not in favor of spending billions of dollars for people, like you say, that just show up.
Right.
I expressed that. This is the way I explain it to her. I represent the view and the values of the most immigrant city in the state, and none of them agree with that. I believe those funds should go to help municipalities to build new housing so we can reduce the level of homelessness that we have in the state. To go into private industry so they can be the developers, because the government have proven that they can do nothing right.
Right. The government never does anything better than private business.
So at the same time, I vote in favor of funding those programs that keep our veterans off the street, that give them some dignity. I was advocating so better use of those funds.
So you're saying it was all lumped into one bill. So if you voted against the illegal aliens, you had to vote for all the other stuff.
I never vote against supporting undocumented people. I vote.
Well, they have documents. They're just illegal.
I'm not a legal counsel for the State House. I'm a state rep. And what I do is you present me with a piece of legislation, in this case was supplemental budget, and I see If I vote in favor, what is the impact? On helping thousands of veterans, single mothers, people by some seniors, people by some reason are struggling economically, and I vote in favor of that.
All right. You wanted to come because there's something you wanted to talk about, and so I could actually just sit here and throw questions at you for the next hour and have a lot of fun with it.
Go ahead.
Because
go
I'm
ahead.
a right-wing lunatic.
I asked you to come because I miss you.
But I first want to give you an opportunity to talk about why you came. What is it you wanted to talk about? What was going on? Some of the bills that you've been filing and some of the things you've been fighting for.
First thing, I want to come to you because you are a professional journalist, and I respect the job you do.
I don't hear that a lot, so thank you.
Well, you heard that from me, and I got a lot of trust on you. And no one is convenience for me, you know that. And I respect the job you're doing. When you publish something that is not correct about me in your newspaper, I call you.
Absolutely.
With respect.
And I welcome it because I don't want anything in the paper that's not accurate.
Yeah, and I respect your job. But also, like, it's true. Tom and I are very different people. We have many diverse way of thinking. We have different ideals, maybe different values. But something that we have in common is the love that we have for the men of McValley. That's why we get along. To be honest with you, if somebody agreed with me on everything,
I'd worry.
I worry
Me too.
because the day that I do something that they don't agree with, what's going to happen?
Right.
So I believe this country was founded with the idea that you can have your own way of thinking, you can have your own ideas, you can have your own ideals. However, we can come together for the common love that we have for America and for the freedom of diversity of thought, but also the diversity of in humanity. So that's why I get along with you, and I get along with my fellow Republicans, independents, with some of the progressive Democrats. Not because I agree with them on everything, but we have something in common. And I like to believe that is that we go to the State House to work for the best of the people of the Commonwealth.
Let me ask you another loaded question.
What? You've been softball today, man. Give me something hard.
I'm warming up.
Okay.
Have you ever voted against the speaker?
Yes.
You have. Talk about what you voted against, because all we hear is these guys never vote against the speaker. So when the answer is yes, we want to know.
I was elected by the people of Lawrence and Methuen, and not by the speaker. However, I respect his leadership and his authority. And I have expressed my mind. For example, when the city of Boston, they want to have a tax classification. They want to classify commercial property A, B, and C. I was against that because that would open a Pandora box that any mayor will use to basically cover his bad administrative skills. So I believe it was a bad policy for the Commonwealth. I didn't want to open that, and in that committee, I basically destroyed the bill.
Nice.
And I did it because my love for the city of Lawrence Methuen, because my respect for the people that elect me, and those are the values that I represent in the State House. I respect him, his leadership. He's a great man. However, from day one, he knows that I'm going to vote representing the people that elect me, not the politicians.
The state has pushed a new gun law. Boy, I'll tell you, the gun laws in Massachusetts are really crazy. As somebody who's concealed carry myself, I worry every day that, God forbid, I have to use my gun to protect myself, or I have to use my gun to protect my family. And then once I do, I become a criminal. Once I do, the Monday morning quarterback that are built into the laws that make me a criminal just for defending myself worry me greatly, because it's bad enough to have to use a weapon to defend yourself and your family and have to hurt someone. But then after that, to be treated as though you're the bad guy, to be treated as though you're the guy that's the criminal. Very worrisome that, God forbid, just by trying to protect myself and my family, that I may be the criminal. The other thing is all these red flag laws that the Democrats are trying to push, and I think, and I might have that wrong, but I didn't read up on it, passed in the last bill, where a family member can say, well, I think my family member is a danger to himself, mental health issues, and they can lose their gun just on that. I've got a sister that I haven't talked to in 30 years who would put me in jail for jaywalking if she could. And I look at some of these laws and I think, wow, like we're not locking up the criminals who use guns, because the minute a criminal, and you know this, the minute a criminal commits a crime with a gun, when they get prosecuted, the first thing that the district attorney does is they negotiate away the gun charge, because it's got mandatory time in it, to get them to plead guilty to the lesser charges. So most of these people never get charged with the gun crime unless you're defending yourself. If you're defending yourself, then they go full hog on you. And so could you just talk about some of those issues, what your thoughts are on gun rights, on the gun issues, the bill that you voted for? I know we have very different views on semi-automatic weapons. Just give us your thoughts, give us your views. What we talk about privately, I don't like to bring up and say what you said. I'd rather you say it, because in that way I'm not violating a confidence.
I believe people should have the right to own a weapon after they get trained. As we know, they are not a danger for themselves and for the community. I believe that. I'm getting my gun license.
You should have one. I think every elected official should have one.
Well, I'm getting mine, and I went through the training. Montaz gave me a good training for my safety, for the safety of the people that I love. Mm-hmm. And I strongly believe in that. However, Massachusetts have one of the toughest gun law in the country, and that have transcend to, we have one of the fewest percentage of homicide in the state, and I'm proud of that. Let me tell you why I strongly support the gun bill that you hate. Mm-hmm. Sandy Hook. I don't know if you have kids.
Here we
Let
go.
me tell you.
I'm leaving. I'm out.
Sir, you asked me a question.
No, listen, it's your show, brother.
But I'm talking my perspective, why I support.
But see, I love this, because people at home need to see that we can be friends and disagree on these issues vehemently and still be friends and still care about each other.
And I would never support the right of taking people's weapons away. No, but let me tell you something. Something that keeps any parents awake is the safety of the most valuable thing that we can have, our kids. I remember the first day that I brought my kid to daycare, and he looked me in a way like, oh, Dad, you're leaving me behind. And I cried. Mm-hmm. And semi-automatic weapon have no place in the state of Massachusetts.
Wow.
Let me explain.
I'm listening.
Assault weapon. I'm talking about those semi-automatic rifles. Let me explain that to you. Let's say somebody that have some trauma go to a school with a semi-automatic assault weapon that he can just do like 60 rounds in a minute.
Well, right? That's not accurate.
Bubba, how many they can do? How many they can do?
In a minute,
how many?
Maybe 10.
Okay, 10.
Maybe 10.
Right? They don't have to. How much damage can that person do? How many innocent can he kill? Just think about it. He's using a semi-automatic AK, whatever, AK-47.
AR-15.
AR-15, right?
AK is a machine gun.
Okay. But that's a semi.
I think a lot of people confuse a machine gun, which is automatic, with the semi-automatic, which you have to pull the trigger every time a bullet comes out.
Let me explain that to you. It's not the saying that they have to every time they shoot, they have to, and that will give time to the police officer or any security officers to save many lives. Semi-automatic weapon to have no place in the state of Massachusetts.
Wow.
I bought it because as a state rep, if I can prevent the Sandy Hook to happen in Massachusetts and I didn't vote in favor, how can I go home and see my child?
Well,
That's why I support it, and I'm proud of that.
I hated every single word you just said, but let me ask you this.
Yep.
how is that bill going to stop a Sandy Hook from happening? It's not going to stop anything because criminals don't follow the laws. The law-abiding
We
citizens
haven't had
won't be
that in
able to.
Massachusetts because of those laws.
But is there any science to show that?
We have what? Look at statistics. How our gun laws have reduced the level of homicides. How we never have a Sandy Hook happen in our state, and how we look forward to keep it that way.
But doesn't that have more to do with the fact that we have more minorities in our states, and most school shootings happen by young, white, affluent kids, right?
That's correct. And who are the ones that buy those weapons? It's all those shootings on those schools, children's.
The evil white people
are weapons, but legally.
No.
And we want to make illegal for you to purchase those semi-automatic rifles.
They're not legal.
That can kill tens of kids in a minute. We don't want that. That's have no room in our communities. That have no room for parents like me. That the safety of my kid is the most important thing.
Wow. I disagree with all of that, but it's your show today.
You asked me.
Listen, that's good.
You've been softball today, man. Let's go to real issues. Come on.
Well, what do you think are the real issues? Because when I talk to people, when I am sitting in a restaurant or I'm sitting in a bar, and I don't drink, but I'll drink, ginger ale or whatever. When intern girl and I are sitting at Salvatore's and we talk to people, we ask them what the real issues. These are the real issues that they care about. They care about education being an unmitigated failure. They care about the gun issues. They care about so the illegal aliens huge right now. I think of the three I just mentioned, the one we haven't talked about is the unmitigated failure of the education system. I sat on the school committee in 1996. We spend 5 times more money now on education in Lawrence. I'm just going to use Lawrence as an example, but Lawrence is the microcosm of the state. We spend 5 times or more money on education in Lawrence, in Methuen, in Haverhill, than we did in 1996. And the level of education these kids are getting, the level of proficiency in reading, math, science, history, is a third of what it was in 1996. So we've proven that throwing more money at the problem not only doesn't help the problem, but it actually makes it worse because now you're just hiring people for the sake of hiring people. They're coming up with all these ridiculous rules. And as you know, every kid graduating from Lawrence High School knows about gay marriage, abortion, Trump is a Nazi, global warming, but then ask them to do math in their head. Ask them the 5 rights in the First Amendment. They don't know. They haven't been taught. And that's not their fault. That's our fault for not educating them.
Okay, ask me the real question. How we can do a better job?
Well, how do we do it better without throwing more money at the problem?
Okay. Money not necessarily fix the problem. That have been proven. Let me talk to you with statistics. Less than 37% of the male high school graduates from Lawrence ever go to college.
All right, I'm going to write this down. Less than 37%.
And
okay.
The male high school graduate. Less than 45% of the male high school graduate from Methuen High School ever go to college.
Say it again.
Less, what was the percentage say?
45.
Yep, go to college.
Okay.
And when a kid graduates from high school, and you say the perspective, less than 65% of them will ever go to college, I ask myself, what are we giving them? A piece of diploma that lacks a financial education, the financial literacy, that we don't teach them computer science, we don't teach them, coding. No, what are we giving them? We're giving them a piece of carton that means anything, and we don't giving them the tools that they need to be successful to reach American dream. That's my opinion. And
you're right. I don't disagree with that at all.
Part of that, let me tell you, go back when Massachusetts went away from one of the best school curriculum, K-12 curriculum in the country,
Yes.
and we adopted the Common Core standard. When you say a standard, ask me why that was wrong.
Well, I know you voted against MCAS,
No.
right? If that's what the speaker
ask me why standards, the Common Core standard was wrong for Massachusetts.
Yeah, why was it wrong? Because it held teachers accountable.
Let me tell you why. We learn depending on in the environment that we grew up. Every kid have a different way of learning, depending on the environment he grew up. You know, and when we apply the Common Core standard, that means that we're gonna teach every kid the same way, regardless if he live in Lawrence or he live in Lexington. Regardless if he have food to eat the night before or his parents are rich. You know what happened? That makes our classroom a McDonald's and the class that we give them a Big Mac. No, our kids are different. The education, Massachusetts, the only state in the union, the main education is fundamental right. And when you make something fundamental right, have to be not only education, you have to give them a competent education. And
But they're not getting it.
That's why I hate the Common Core standard, because the education needs to be tailored to fit the way each student learn. And when you have a Common Core standard that you want to teach the same way everybody, you're failing them. Let me say something. My son have an IQ of 150, but he has ADHD like I do. So the way he learn, he need to be in a cozy environment. He need to be teach this way, otherwise he get bored. You know, it's not the same way you teach my daughter. So each kid need to have a tailored curriculum that fit the way they learn. And we have a lot of technology right now to do so. We have AI. We have algorithms that do that. The rich people can pay for. You know, but when we go Common Core standards, no, we cannot teach all students the same way. They learn different, and that needs to change in Massachusetts. And I've been a strong advocate for that. And when you use something that you say was inaccurate, I didn't vote in favor of NCAS. I voted against when I voted last.
Yeah, you voted against
in
MCAS.
Selection. I voted against having no way to test how good the teachers are doing the job.
That's what MCAS was. That's why the teachers unions hated it.
And but that proposal was not about taking away the NCAS. It was saying we should have nothing across the state to evaluate kids. If you read that proposal, that question was about that. It was not that you can have an alternative testing for if you get rid of the NCAS. It was that you should not have any way of testing how good the teachers are doing their job. And I support teachers. My mother was a teacher for 30 years. I'm
not a big fan of teachers these days, for sure.
No, they're good people. They're good people. However, we are not giving them the tools they need to do their job. And so, now I go to the NCAS. Why the level of reading math is so low compared to 30 years ago?
There's no standard.
Because many school districts are worrying more about the NCAS test result than teaching the curriculum. You know,
but it's the same thing. You're teaching. They say we don't teach to the test, but you know what? That's what education is. You teach someone a subject, and then you test them. And then if they don't do well, you know that the teacher didn't do a good enough job teaching that subject, and then you go over the material again, and you test them again. And so what the teachers unions didn't like this because it measured their lack of success. And while they're sitting in the classroom talking about Donald Trump's a Nazi and global warming and all the political stuff, what they're not teaching kids is how to do math in their head, how to read a traditional clock, financial literacy, all the things that you talked about. They're not teaching that stuff. But at least with MCAS, and you say they're teaching you the test, at least they would teach you to something. At least there was a standard. Right now, kids get passed along whether they pass their tests or they don't. They get passed along to the next grade. Now they're ill-prepared. And in the next grade, they're less prepared to be in that grade, so they never end up catching up. And so that's why when they graduate.
I support it to keep the NCAS. I support it. What I vote against the question of eliminating any type of testing. I was against that legislation.
So you were for MCAS?
I'm for it. Yeah, I'm for testing how good the teachers are doing their job. So you got confused.
I guess I am, because the way I read it, you voted to do away with the MCAS test.
And when I talk about financial literacy,
and if I get that wrong, that's fine. I'm happy to be wrong about that.
I have to put the state money. Look for my voting record. When I put the state money, what I have in my heart, or what I speak about to. Ryan Hamilton and I sponsor a legislation to make mandatory financial literacy in our schools. Why? How can I judge a kid that's not able to get a student loan to go to college? How can I judge him if he cannot rent a good apartment? If we don't teach him in school how to manage his money.
Right, but we're not teaching. We're not teaching it. That's
But
the problem.
I
We're not
follow
teaching
legislation
it,
for
right?
that.
Right.
And I've been working with Robinhood, the platform, to bring at least $500,000 for the Merrimack Valley for programs that we teach kids financial literacy. We're gonna. Part of my proposal is we're gonna teach them how to have a bank account. For that, we're gonna have credit unions or donating like $100 for each kid so they can have a bank account, so we can teach them how to manage their money. So that's part of my job. That's part of what I have been doing the last 3 years.
I know you have focused very heavily on education, which I like, by the way, even though I don't agree with a lot of it. One of the things you did, and remind me, we have an audience question next. But one of the things that you did that I couldn't figure out whether I agreed or disagreed with it, so it didn't really matter, but I thought it was very brave, was to inject yourself into the Lawrence School, I don't want to say scandal, but the Lawrence School controversy over whether or not the mayor's plan for a new school committee, a hybrid school committee of appointed and elected officials. And you injected yourself into that as a leader in the State House, which almost never happens, right? State reps almost always stay out of those local issues. And you came out against the mayor's plan. I don't know how I feel about the mayor's plan. So tell people what your position was, why you think that position was important, and where are we now? Like where do we sit right now as far as the Lawrence regaining control of their own schools?
Well, that whole rule petition basically take away the right of people for each district to vote for who they want to represent them at the school committee. And I just have won my re-election. I knock many doors, asking people to believe in me, to believe in the work I'm doing, in the work that will continue to do so for my community. So how can I go to District F, to District E, to District A, and tell them, you are not capable enough to elect a competent person to represent you in the school committee when they
just
elect a competent person to go to the State House? I need to be coherent,
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I believe they did the right choice because I'm working hard every day. So I believe people should have the right to be represented by somebody they trust. And for me, it was, I cannot tell you, you choose me, you did the right thing electing me, and then tell you that you're not capable of electing somebody good to represent your neighborhood in the school committee.
So the mayor's plan was to have 3 appointed by the mayor, to have 3 elected. Is it citywide?
The plan is the city council would nominate people, and they get selected from that.
So is it the mayor that selects or the city council selects?
City council.
So the mayor has no role then. It's the city council selects?
The mayor have a big role, but...
Was he nominate them to the city council? Is that what happens? He nominates the names and they vote?
I believe the city council nominate them.
Okay. And then the other 3 are elected. Is it citywide?
Correct.
So, by the way, as a side note, I was here under the old charter. I've been here under the new charter. I think citywide elections are the way to go for school committee. I think citywide elections are the way to go for city councils. Once you start parceling it out, you have all this kind of conflict. So I like that the 3 are citywide.
But
the mayor's position, though, I think it's a defensible position. I'm not sure whether I agree with it yet or not. His position was, when we ran the schools last time, we ran it into the ground. Then the state took over because they said they were going to do a better job, and then they didn't, which, by the way, he's right about. The state did a much worse job running the schools than Lawrence did when they were running the schools, when we lost it. And so I think his position is, not that I'm defending it, just trying to define it, I think his position is, why don't we have a hybrid where the state, where the public has a say, but also those of us in charge who are trying to guide this in the right way have a say. But then he gets the final decision. He gets to break all ties, right? So if the people that are nominated by the city council vote one way and the electeds vote another way, then he ends up breaking the tie. What would you have rather have seen? Would you rather have seen everyone be elected?
Correct. Yes.
And at large or by district?
by district.
Really? So you're a fan of the districts?
No, I'm a fan of like the issues that each district have are different. You can tell me if you go to the Arlington neighborhood, they have the same issues that you would have in Colony High. So in each district you have.
But we don't have
voice.
neighborhood schools. That would make sense if we had neighborhood schools, but the kids who live in the Arlington neighborhood don't
But
necessarily
the way
go.
you advocate needs to reflect the community you are representing.
So then shouldn't we go back to neighborhood schools and say the kids that live in the Arlington neighborhood go to the Arlington school, the kids that live on Prospect Hill go to the Prospect
That's
school?
what happened right now.
So so right now we are apportioning it by neighborhood.
Correct.
Okay, good. Well, I mean that's always been a sticking point for me. We have a question online, and it's actually an exceptional question. I'm glad that he asked it. Mark Rivera from online.
Yes.
Who used to actually work in the Lawrence school system. He was there when I was on the school committee. He says, in the past 6 months in Lawrence alone, we have lost 3 officers due to suicide. In North Andover, another officer, while out on leave, suffered from mental health issues, depression, postpartum depression, sadly threatened her own life and that of her fellow colleagues, which resulted in a shooting. Does the representative have any thoughts on how we can help support the mental health of police and fire in their professions? It's by the way, great question.
That was a great question. I have been one of the strongest advocates for firefighters and police officers in the state of Massachusetts. And I have a bachelor in criminal justice. Look, 30 years ago, less than 30, the city of Manchester, New Hampshire, have lots of trouble. Some of the officers committed suicide. They got problems with addictions, and they did have their own research, and they found out that in this public, if you are a police officer, it's very likely that you are going to end up divorce, and you will have to go through some type of trauma.
Huge divorce rate, huge suicide rate.
And just think about it, the job they have to do, the things they have to see to keep us safe. But Manchester United did something amazing. Look what they did. They opened up a club, a place where police officers go after they do their shift. They go there for 20, 30 minutes, 1 hour, and they are able to take the uniform, to relax. Now, when they go home, they're no longer the police officer. They are the son, the daughter,
so
the husband.
So it's a place to go decompress.
Correct.
Okay.
It's similar to what we have here with the firefighters.
Right. Except there's alcohol there, so you might not want to use that as
And
an
after years of research and statistics, it has been proven the life of police officers have been extended for more than 5 years, and the percentage of divorce and alcoholism have been reduced. And like I say, I have a bachelor in criminal justice. I research criminology. I research human behavior. And when I got elected, I have been one of the strong proposals to do a pilot program. So let's say Lawrence and Methuen can get a club of police officers. They can go there, and they can talk to each other, not as officers doing the job, as human beings. So when they go home, they already leave the police officer behind. And it has been proven that
the wives are going to love this
expectancy
program,
will be longer, and they're going to be a better husband, they will be a better son or daughter, because whatever they go through during the day, they left that behind.
Mm-hmm.
I visited a couple of properties in St. Lawrence with Mayor De Peña and with Jorge Jaime, director of DPW back then, looking for a property to do that. And I spoke to Stella Reyes and Pavel Payano about it, and we all agree with that. It's a working process. Coming back to your questions, we need to do more for our police officers. We need to give them the tools that they need, not only to do their job, but also after they do their job, they can go on and be a regular person. We need to do more. And
I think
I'm committed to that because, like I say, I'm one of the strongest advocates for police officers and firefighters. And mental health, is a I cannot say it's a problem. It's a condition that we need to deal with for everybody in the state of Massachusetts. We need to provide more funding, but also we need to take better care of the people that keep us safe.
I know that I talked to, because my father was killed in the line of duty, I talked to a lot of families of cops. I talked to a lot of partners of cops. I talked to a lot of on-duty cops all the time, especially about mental health issues. And one of the pushbacks that I get is these guys go out, they see dead kids in accidents, they see all kinds of stuff, they see shootings, they see the worst of devastation in the community, but they're afraid to come forward and ask for mental help because they're afraid they're going to lose their gun. They're afraid that if they come forward, someone in the department that doesn't like them is going to out them to a local newspaper, as we saw with Julissa Nunez and a certain police officer a few years ago. And so they're petrified that if they try to seek help, if they recognize themselves that maybe they've got an issue and they try to seek help, they're going to lose their job, they're going to lose their pension, they're going to lose their gun, that it's going to change their life in a way that they don't want their life to change. And so I think what
My friend, part of what we have to do is to make sure they know that we, the people of the Commonwealth, that we, the elected officials, we will not judge you if you come to us and say, I have problem of depression, I have PTSD. We need to do a better job letting them know how much we appreciate the job they do to keep us safe. That we're not going to take your gun away. We're going to give you, the treatment or the help that you need to continue doing your job. And that's something that we need to do. Estelle already filed 2 amendments to the budget for provide funding for mental health for firefighters. I have done some
firefighters too. They see the worst of the worst.
So, and we need to do more. And we're working on it. Estelle, her husband, and I'm not here to speak on her behalf, is a police officer. And we are strong advocates for police officers.
Well, you say, we have to let them know how much we care. How do we do that when, under the current system, if a guy, we just saw it in Lawrence, if a guy comes forward and he says, I'm having an issue, I'm having a problem, they're petrified that they're going to lose their gun, that they may even lose their job, they may lose their pension.
I don't have all the answers, but I'm looking for it.
Okay.
And
it's a good answer.
And like I say, maybe the club that was looking for a property to do so, maybe that's not the answer. Maybe it is. But I'm pursuing that because I care.
What do you think about this whole post commission? I've looked. I hated it
Oh,
when I first
now you're
came
going
on.
hard. That's good.
Save the good stuff for the end. I look at the post commission. This has been tried for years and years and years. It's failed every time. Although it seems at least as though that Massachusetts seems to be doing it a little better than previous so-called civilian review boards. And I think the problem with most civilian review boards is that none of them have actual experience as police officers, so they end up becoming political tools for the political fad of the day. We see in Lawrence, you had Mike Samad on video on this program. We played it, manhandling a woman, knocking her to the ground. We had, by the way, intern girl disagrees with me on this.
I do disagree, 100%.
We've had other officers that didn't really do anything wrong, didn't do anything illegal, but what they did might have been morally wrong, and then they've been stripped of their certification to be a police officer. So I'm all for holding cops accountable. I'm just not so I think the further away from the local level that you go when you're trying to hold someone accountable for what's happening at the local level, the less understanding that they have of what's going on. And so that's my view, but I'm really interested in what your view is, because you're the guy that votes on this stuff, and when it comes up for renewal, you're going to have to make the decision.
Let me tell you something. I understand that the post-commission, the way they do business, can improve. We have a lot of room for improvement. And as a legislator, it's my job to work, to research, to give them some alternative so they can improve how they do. But something else I can tell you is Massachusetts has the most professional police force in the country. And you know that. Your father was a police officer here. While every other state in the country have problem with police brutality, we are not in the national TV because of that. Because we have the most professional police force in the country, thanks to the Quinn bill that was funded by Bob Patrick, and we are working to fund that.
By the way,
again.
thank you for that.
You know, and I speak.
I'm
my
a
mind,
huge fan of the Quinn bill.
Yeah.
Huge fan of the Quinn bill.
It's not gonna. The name's not gonna be Quinn, but it's gonna be something else. But it's gonna do the same thing.
And for the people at home, let me just explain what the Quinn bill is. If you're a police officer and you go back to school and you're learning, and hopefully the new bill is going to include that if you're learning public safety issues and the law, that we will give you a bump in pay. We'll pay for your school. And part of the reason why this is important is if you follow my Facebook page on a regular basis, you know I'm on this new kick. Police officers who don't know the friggin' First Amendment, police officers who don't know the Fifth and Fourth Amendment, and you have cops out there who see somebody videotaping. Someone will call and say, "Hey, there's a suspicious guy outside. He's videotaping," and the cops will show up and demand an ID. Well, you can only demand an ID under the law, under Supreme Court rulings. You can only demand an ID if you have a reasonable, articulable suspicion that this person committed a specific crime, not because they're suspicious. Suspicious is not a crime. And so you see these officers arresting people for obstruction of justice, for refusing to turn over their ID, and then having that stuff overturned, and then the cop getting in trouble, but it's only because he wasn't trained properly. It's only because he wasn't educated right. So if we're going to have a Quinn bill, I want to see it tailored not toward, because under the old Quinn bill, we saw guys getting the medical degree and then leaving the police force and becoming a doctor, right?
Well, I disagree with you in that. Listen, if you're a police officer and you get a higher education, nursing, psychology, doesn't matter what you go to school for, it will make you better. And whatever you do, even if you're a firefighter or police officer, because you will see every scenario, without the limitation of somebody without your educational level. So,
but we don't want them taking the education and leaving. We pay for their education for some other profession. Then they leave and they go do that. Well, why do we pay for that?
Hey,
that means if I want to be a doctor, just become a cop for 5 years, right?
It's not the Quinn bill didn't pay for you to go to medical school. I will email you some documentation about the proposal that we have to remunerate better our police officers. They get better education.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. If a police officer go and get a master in psychology, will that officer be more capable of dealing with a civilian that have mental health problems?
Sure.
So wouldn't that make him a better police officer?
Absolutely.
So that's why it's important. Not only they go to the academy to learn the police procedure. However, doesn't matter what you go to school for. It will make you better. You will be a better police officer. And by the way, Officer Simmer is a gentleman, somebody that I deeply respect.
Who?
And Officer Simmer.
Officer Simmer?
Yeah, because you mentioned, I can tell you, he has been a gentleman.
Oh, Samad.
Yeah, Samad. I love him. He and his family. He's a gentleman.
Well, he's very political, so politicians kind of have to say
I'm talking
that.
about him as a police officer, as a person. And because you mentioned it next to you, I can tell you that I love and respect him as a person, but also as a police officer. And saying that, Massachusetts, we invented what is the United States right now, this nation, the most powerful nation on earth. We created also the first state police.
Mm-hmm.
And Massachusetts State Police is the best in the country.
Well, let's get into that. And I don't mind going over a little bit because
we are the only state that made education, K-12 education, a fundamental right. Not all the states in the union have done that. And we're going to be the first one to solve the problems that we have with health care, to solve the problems we have with education.
Mm-hmm.
And still, with the decline in the quality of education that we have in the last 30 years, we have the best education in the whole country.
That's sad.
But think about it. We still are the leader. We are still the best state.
But we're the leader of crap, though. Like you're the king of crap. Like if you're the top of the crap pile, you can say we're number one, but you're still
my friend.
I mean, the education system is so bad right now in this country.
Let me just say something.
We're like 39th in the world now.
You invite me as a state rep, not as an activist. As a state rep, I can tell you that we appropriate many millions of dollars to improve education. We are advocating for K-12, for pre-K education, because that will give every child the tools they need to reach their creative potential, but also will allow mom to go back to work or go back to school a year earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So we keep investing in trying new things. And I'm proud that we funded that. Some ideas work, some others don't.
Mm-hmm.
But we're trying.
Intern Go, you got any questions for the state rep?
Yes, I have some questions about the new big, beautiful bill that just passed. I saw you made some comments about, the health care. Is that going to affect us anyway in the state? I know we spend a whole bunch of money, I think about over $20 billion a year for mass health. And I don't know what percentage of that comes from the federal. Is that going to be cut?
Wow.
What are the thoughts of that?
Wow, what a question from Intern Girl.
The teacher be here, man.
Right.
Let me tell you.
I'm all about national news.
The big
that's
and
why.
beautiful bill will have devastating impact in the people of the Commonwealth.
It will or it won't?
Well,
Okay.
just in the next 10 years, we're going to lose at least $10 billion in funding for healthcare. And the way that healthcare works, and that was enacted by a Republican governor, Ronnie Care, 90% of this, the part of the budget we allocate for healthcare goes to 15% of the people with insurance. Those are elderly people that are in a nursing home, people with severe illness, that if they don't live in Massachusetts, they'd be dead right now. So 90% of the money that we spend out of the state budget for mass health goes to 15% of the insurance. So the other 10 goes to the rest. And what happened? When you have close to $1 billion that will be taken away from the federal government, who will that impact the most?
The 15%?
Those vulnerable, those severe ill, those that need to be in a nursing home, that we have higher copay. That's what I worry about the most. So the impact will be devastating for the people that need it the most.
We saw with Holy Family, we saw with Lawrence General, the merging, Stewart Healthcare, all the problems. Is this a situation that's going to get better, or does it seem like it's still going to get worse?
Those hospitals will get better because we put a lot of money, but also we put a lot of oversight over those 3 hospitals. And let me tell you something. Those decisions of the big and beautiful bill, those decisions weren't ours, the state government, the government of the state of Massachusetts. But the burden is for all of us to share. And I'm the first one that we vote for a pay cut for all legislators in the state of Massachusetts, if that comes to my table. I will vote in favor. Because, yes, we have one of the biggest rainy day fund in the country. And we put $800 million in the budget as a wiggle room for whatever money we were not going to get from the federal government. I don't think that's enough. And if it comes to me, I will vote in favor of reducing the pay salary of every single legislator in the state of Massachusetts, because I can never ask my constituents, to endeavor a sacrifice I'm unwilling to go through myself. And it's going to rain. It's going to be raining. We have rainy day phone. It's going to be raining. But believe me, I'm going to be there outside getting wet with all my constituents. And that's something that we all need to think about it. These cuts, we go to special education. This cut, we go to healthcare, to housing. But as a state, we have been working for months to mitigate the impact of this change, of these cuts. And I still believe, the federal administration would rethink, and know that just like they did, withholding $100 million for special education in Massachusetts was not the right thing to do. Because regardless if you are Republican, Democrat, Independent, we run for office because we love the people we represent. And these cuts, are not in the best interest of the people of Massachusetts, of the people of Vermont, or New Hampshire, or any red state. These cuts affect, they are not just numbers in a paper. These are real people, real life affected. And I believe if you run for president, if you run for Congress, you do so because you love America. And because they love America, I really believe things in DC will get better. They will change some of those cuts and really.
But it's also,
I'm hopeful.
but it's also, helping other people. I understand the whole vulnerable, the 15%, but what about the other 85%?
But
Those also matter. They also
yeah.
matter, right?
But the most affected are the people that need it the most. And those data they give you was given to me by Governor Baker, because he used to run one of the biggest insurance company in the country, and when we sit at the table, he educated me about it many years ago. Those are not my thoughts. Those are not my statistics.
I would have voted against the big beautiful bill because it's way too much spending for me, way too much borrowing for me. However, one of the things in the bill is I think like $1 billion or more for local hospitals. So while they're zeroing out money on one end, and I think it's the payback for Medicare and Medicaid, because there's a whole grift that goes on with that. But there is another allocation. Is Mass going to be exempt from that, or does that go to everybody, if you know?
I don't think, the way I see it, and I may not be answering your question, that you put more money for hospitals, but when you put a tariff, let's say you bring medications from Canada, you put a tariff in that. So
we'll just make it here.
Yeah,
just make it here, so it's not an issue.
Here in Massachusetts, actually.
Well, also, you couldn't fund.
That's what the president's trying to do. He's trying to make it so that we're not buying it from China or Canada or Mexico.
But let me tell you, at the same time, you are cutting funding for research and the development of new medication that can save life. There is no coherence, and that's what DC Democrats, Republicans need to get together and figure it out. They don't need to agree.
But you're confident they're gonna. You're confident that at the end of the day they're gonna make it work.
Yeah, I'm confident now because America always come back and rethink and do the right thing.
Right.
That's why we are the more powerful nation on earth.
Yeah.
Not because we agree on everything, because we have a big common agreement.
Right. We all love this country.
Yeah.
Yep. So I saved one of the big topics for last, and this will probably be our last one, unless you answer it so quick I have time to do another one. You are, I think, the only Democrat on Beacon Hill in the legislature who's pro-life. And when Roe versus Wade got overturned, Massachusetts, the governor and the legislature started taking huge measures to make sure that not only will abortions be legal in Massachusetts, no matter what, but that state taxpayers' dollars get pay for abortions in Massachusetts. And so I want to give you a chance as somebody who is kind of a unicorn on this issue, because before you came along, I always used to say, you won't find a pro-life Democrat in Massachusetts because they'll kill you if you try. And then here we have a unicorn with us here. So give you an opportunity to kind of talk about this issue a little bit. Has it come before you? Have you voted against any abortion bills? If they put one in front of you, will you vote against any of these abortion bills?
They have not come any abortion bills to the floor. I don't think there are any pending. What I can tell you is I believe in God, and a man of God have been a guidance for me. And I'm pro-life.
God bless you. God bless you.
But also, I respect each individual way of thinking. Because like you and me, we have disagreement in many issues, but we can sit at the table together. I don't have to impose my belief in you. And I don't think fat men like me should tell any women what they should do with their body.
Here we go.
Would I vote?
Here we go.
Would I vote? But let me tell you, would I vote in favor of abortion? No. But I respect everybody's way of thinking. And I decline the endorsement of Planned Parenthood.
God bless you.
I'm a man of God, but I also believe my way of thinking is mine. I represent the value of my community that strongly are pro-life.
Yes, the
and
Dominican community is strongly pro-life.
We have no bill in the floor, and I don't see it coming,
But if it does, you're voting no.
I will vote. My vote will reflect the values of the community that I represent always. Even if we're talking about abortion, we're talking about mental health, we're talking about public safety, education, I will represent the value of Lawrence and Methuen Lawrence.
And this is why I love Francisco Paulino. When people say to me, how can you be friends with this guy? He's way over here and you're way over here.
But
It's
make it
because-
clear, I should never tell Carlota what she should do.
I will.
But
Okay.
I have my values,
Right.
and I'm proud of that.
All right, so let me parlay this into maybe a win for both of us too, or maybe not. Let's see how it goes. I guess we'll see. One of my frustrations with the abortion issue is that those who favor abortion, which is most of Massachusetts, say it's a woman's right. She's the only one that can have a say. The father should have no say, even though it's half his kid too. Screw him. He has no say. On the other end, if she decides to have the child against his will, he's got the responsibility of paying for it for 18 years. So how can you have it both ways? Shouldn't we have a bill that says if it's going to be a woman's sole right, but she has no responsibility, shouldn't she have responsibility? With rights come responsibilities, right? Should we have a bill that says if it's going to be her sole right to make the decision to have or terminate the baby, that she should have the sole responsibility of paying for it if she's making the decision without his input? Doesn't that make sense?
Well, he had the choice of sleeping with her or not.
Well, she did too.
And he too.
But she did too. She had the choice not to open her leg.
Let's keep it simple.
All right.
Let's keep it simple. When a man and a woman get an intercourse, she can get pregnant. And if you got a woman pregnant, you should be responsible to support the child.
But it's her decision. He has no say. Why should I, as a man...
It was his decision to sleep with her.
Thank God I've never had to make this decision. But once she's pregnant, she's the one... She also made the decision.
There is nothing more beautiful than having child. I had 2 babies, and I love them to death. And I can tell you, the best day of my life was the first best day of my life, Jackson, the day that Jackson was born. The second best day, Madison, my daughter. The third day, when I graduated from law school, against the odd.
I thought it was the day that he and I became friends. But fine. Put your kids ahead of me.
I have an speech disability. I'm a gifted writer, but when I speak, I mumble, and I'm going to be taking therapy. I wanted to tell you that. It's hard to comprehend me in English, sometimes hard in Spanish. And I work through that my whole life. Now I'm getting therapy for it. So in a couple months, if I come here, the way I speak will reflect the way you can perceive me if you read anything they post. So, saying that, any man that make a willful decision to have a great time with a female, he make that choice voluntarily.
But I think you're conflating it, though. Once the woman is pregnant, he has no more rights, but all the responsibility. Once she's pregnant, she has all the rights, but none of the responsibilities. And I just think that if we're going to be consistent and say that a woman is
how my opinion we transcend in something that we both say, but that's not even a subject. I will never get a bill in that regard. And he has to say it right, my friend. And sorry, I got all respect for you.
Yeah.
That question in that conversation that people will listen to, because the only interesting thing about me talking to you right now is because I'm an elected official. And we can have that conversation eating lunch or having a beer. But for the people that are watching us right now, what they care is any conversation they have with you that will have an impact on the way that I legislate. In that conversation will never be a part of a bill.
But it's important for people to know how you think, too. It's important to know where you're coming from. And one of the reasons why when we do debates, right, we're going to do one in the mayor's race in September.
9/11.
One of the things that I like to do is I tell people to talk to each other and talk about who they are. Because I want the people at home to get an understanding of What is this person's thought process? What's their philosophy? Where are they coming from?
Hey, sorry because
it's all
we have little time. Almost a little more than a year ago, Mira Ortiz from District A reached out to me. She told me, Francisco, in front of the banana farm, a lady almost got killed.
Right.
And I went there the same day. And I reached out to the banana family. Great family. Since then, we started advocating for the safety of the people of Methuen. And the whole delegation commit to that conversation. Thanks to that. You see the work that Merrimack Street, the work taking place right now in Merrimack Street. You know, every corner have crossing lights. And that's thanks to the advocacy of somebody that don't even live in Methuen, but she cares. She reached out to me. And countless conversations with DOT advocating for the city of Methuen. And finally, in the month of August, they're going to light them up. So if you're going to cross any intersection of Merrimack Street, Methuen, it will be safer for you. And that's the whole investment is state money. What that shows me and shows you and everybody listening to this is sometimes, even if you don't live in a city, and you reach out to an elected official and tell them, look, this happened, this is a risk, you don't know that you can be saving a life. Maybe that life is you or somebody else. Mid Ortiz don't live in Methuen, but thanks to that phone call, we start advocating day in, day out. And that's an investment in the millions of dollars.
I love Myra. She's such an asset to the community.
And in the budget, I put $75,000 in the supplemental budget to buy 15 solar power radars, because many people speed in Methuen. We don't have sidewalks, so the streets are too big. So we're going to be installing those 15. Then next budget season, we're going to get more money. And so the state delegation, Senator Pavel Payano, Rep. Stella Reyes, Rep. Hamilton, and myself, we are in the business of helping the people of Methuen. The same thing that the state delegation from Lawrence, to bring results. And you can see those results everywhere you go. And we are making a small difference. If you put together, we have done more in these last 3 years that will happen in the last 40, because we care. And thanks God we have Leader Moran. Leader Moran, his influence at the House helped us get millions of dollars to pass legislation that represent the values of the community of the Merrimack Valley. And I'm grateful for his leadership and grateful for his mentorship to me, but also the result that we have been able to obtain for Lawrence and Methuen and Lawrence.
Okay, final quick question, and we got to go because we're a little bit over. TMF is being pushed out of the bus station. And Mike Gorman and I had a meeting yesterday. Nancy and I have met several times over this. I've met with some of the board members at TMF about the possibility of getting a building in Lawrence to help service the homeless, because the Daybreak Homeless Shelter can only legally hold 44 people a night. They get reimbursed for 44 people a night, but they take in 55, right? They make it work, and they bring in 10 more people just to try and help. But TMF is now looking for a home, and I guess my question is, because I know you're a huge supporter, you've been so helpful, providing food, providing coffee, coming down, serving food. You're not just there when it's an election year. You're there all the time. Is there a possibility that as the state rep, you could file something to help TMF acquire a building? We have over 400 abandoned buildings in tax title in Lawrence. There's no reason why the state can't come in and say, we're going to help you acquire one of these, maybe work with the city to acquire one of these buildings, give you some grants to fix it up, and make it a homeless center. Like, we have a senior center in every community. We have a youth center in almost every community. We need a homeless center so that Tewksbury Detox can have an office in there. Danvers Detox can have an office in there. We can provide food. We can provide amenities for people and have a transitional place where homeless people can go that have nowhere else to go to be able to start trying to get back onto the grid and get back into a regular life.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. I think I'm a strong advocate to help people in need. If they get
And I want to thank you because you're one of the few people that when it's not an election year is there for us.
Tom, when I first arrived to Massachusetts, and I know we don't have that much time, I was without food for 7 days because I didn't have money. And if TMS was there back then, in 2000, I probably didn't have to go through the pain and suffering of being without food. Man. So I care. I care about.
I know you do.
About people. And I think, man, it's personal to me, but if they get a place, man, they can count with me to advocate for funding for them. You know, I advocate for funding for the Healthy Brothers to get a welding academy so we can train our kids. You know, I support the legislation and funding for CISU.
Great program.
And
Shout out to
many other
Dan Holler.
great ideas from Moran and Yusik. And so I know there, man. And the city needs to be proactive, helping them.
They're not going to help. They're not going to help.
Well, help getting how they're gonna if they get the property, we're gonna help them.
They're not going to help.
And
I'm telling you right now, I love Brian, but they're not going to help.
But I'm not here about talking bad about what he's gonna do or not, Brian. But I'm talking about we all care about our people, regardless if they are homeless or not. And TMS have done a great job, and I think we should do more for them. And I'll file legislation to get them funding, and we can do more, you know. And he knows that he can call me anytime, and I'll be there. And he told me a couple months ago, he made me cry. He went to Heavenly Donuts and get a bunch of donuts and bagels, and he went to give it to people that live on the bridge. And because he was there giving those donuts that Ruby donated, they saw a person that was having a OZ.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And because of those donuts, he saved the life.
Saved
you know?
the life, yeah.
And sometimes, man, you don't know the impact of just giving away something, you know, being como tener un corazón bonito, you know, like tener simpatía, to have sympathy for people that you may not know, but they are there. People that sometimes you walk past them and you don't even make eye contact with them, and they feel invisible. I care about those people. That's why I used to live in Garden Street, Lawrence, you know, and I care about them. And I think if as a legislator I do nothing to help those citizens that sometimes feel invisible. So if I don't do anything to help them, I'm not fit for duty. I'm not fit to be an state rep, and I'm proud to tell you that I care. And,
I know that you do. And one of the reasons I'm asking you is because I know that you do, and I also know that if I ask certain other elected officials, they're going to run back to their fellow politicians and ask if it's okay to help, and they're going to get the answer is going to be no, because TMS is being pushed out right now. So
What's next?
that's it. I'm done.
Yes. So what's next? What's coming up next for you? How can people support, reach out to you?
they can reach me out at francisco.paulino@mahouse.gov. Also, they can call me 978-397-7598. We have an open door policy. We do office hours every day.
Okay.
Do you have local office hours? Can people come see you like locally?
Yeah, we can make an appointment and reach and see them at the next to Heavenly Donuts, our office, legislative office, or we can go wherever they live. That's what we do.
Very last thing before we go, Stephanie Infante announced this morning or last night, I just saw it on Facebook, she's running for re-election.
I fully support
and you're
her.
going to endorse her, you're going to help her.
Correct, yes.
Excellent. Because I know you guys are friends, so.
And Franklin Miguel also. I'm going to fully support
love
Franklin
that
Miguel.
guy.
And the best candidate for the school committee,
Who?
Jessica Ramirez.
Jess, I don't think I know her.
You will.
Do I know her?
You will. She's brilliant.
I know.
Okay. you talking about Methuen or Lawrence?
Lawrence.
Okay, all right, very good. Are you going to Greg Del Rosario's event tonight? You are. You're going to go to that?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I'm endorsing. He wants my endorsement.
Yeah, it is tonight.
I like him. We have different views in many.
Yes, that's why I was surprised when you said
no,
yes.
No, but I like him. We can have different views, but we have something in common. We love the city of Lawrence, so that's why I support him.
So do you want to go to lunch after this and have our conversation about the police scanner stuff, or do you want to just do it tonight while we're at Malaya's? Is it Malaya's? It's
Mamacita's, Lawrence Street.
I got invited. I should go too.
Yeah, let's do it later.
Okay, all right.
Hey,
the only thing I don't like about Babacita's is the last time I tried to go to Greg Del Rosario's, I had my gun with me, and they wouldn't let me in with my gun, and I'm like, well, but you have all your windows are open. Someone could hand somebody a gun sitting right there.
You don't need a gun to go there,
but
man. That's a safe
listen,
place.
you need a gun everywhere. I bring my gun to the toilet with me. We're in a very violent country right now where people are getting attacked because of their politics. People are getting attacked because their religious views. Anti-Semitism is up. Racism is up. The level of tension and anger and hatred in this country is very high. Very high.
Everybody love you.
That's funny. Oh.
Listen, if there's anybody on the planet that needs a gun, it's me.
Especially city councils from City Methuen. They love it.
All right.
Listen, I want to thank our guest. This has been a really, really enlightening conversation. I really enjoy this. By the way, the people who say I can't believe you guys are friends, this is why we're friends. Watch this whole show. If you just tuned in late, go back and watch the beginning of this show. We don't agree on a lot of things, but there are things we agree on. But we disagree respectfully because we both know that each other cares about the issues. I know that even if he doesn't agree with me, I know that he believes what he's saying. I know he believes that I'm wrong, and the other way around. What are you laughing at?
Ryan DeZoglio asked, what about me? Are you going to support me too?
Right.
Of course. He had my support. There
you go,
Shameless self-plugs. And I support Ryan as well.
Same.
But this is one of the reasons
Ryan,
why
I have a check for you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons why Francisco and I are friends, and I'm friends with people who don't, because we disagree respectfully, but he's not a bad person because he doesn't agree with me and see the world the way that I do. And I'm not a bad person in his mind because I see things a little differently. And if more people out there, especially here in this environment today, could take that stand and take a step back and say, that guy might not agree with me, but that doesn't make him a bad person. We're all better off, all of us. So I'll leave you with that. You can roll up, Mel. I'm going to thank our sponsors. Thank you to Francisco Paulino, State Representative of the 16th Essex District, Lawrence and Methuen. You're the best, brother. We'll thank Century 21 McLennan Real Estate, Zanny Pesh Law Office, Marston & Son Construction, EIS, Investigation and Gun Training, Tomo and Shaken Seafood, free shout out to JG's Ice Cream. It's been hot. Gotta go get your JG's Ice Cream.
So get the banana split.
Yeah, that's amazing. AFC Urgent Care, Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors, Enterprise Bank, soon to be Rockland Trust.
I love Rockland Trust.
You do?
Yep.
Well, they're a woke organization. I guess that makes sense. Prime Insurance, the Doug Mercurio Law Office, W3ON Quality Catering and Methuen, Terramar Mexican Grill, and hopefully someday Madison Tax Service. I don't know, but maybe someday we'll get.
And also the Valley Patriots.
And the Valley Patriots, yes.
Patriots.
Sounds like Melvin Taylor says you got to go home. He did, so go home already.